welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Splatoon 3's game modes, which is Turf War, Anarchy Battles, and X Battles. And yes, I do know about the other modes, Table Turf, Private Battles, Salmon Run, and Challenges, but I'm just talking about the main ones that are being played most of the time. So, with that, be sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and let's get into it. First up is Turf War. What is it, you may ask? Well, it's in the name, pretty obviously, but it's two teams with 4 teammates, and you're trying to paint the most paint on the ground of your color in 3 minutes, and after that 3 minutes, you'll get tallied up, and if you got the most, you win. Pretty simple, probably the most fun, most popular mode out there, and pretty easy to learn. That's Turf War. Next up is Anarchy Battles. And yes, I said battles because there are 4 modes to choose from, starting off with Splat Zones, Tower Control, Rainmaker, and Clam Blitz, all with their unique objective to complete. Let's start off with Splat Zones. But before we get into that, let me tell you about how Anarchy itself works. So, when you first pull it up and you want to do Anarchy, you either see Anarchy Series or Anarchy Open, both pretty similar but different in their own way. Series, if you look at the right, you'll see a little bar thing with 5 little circles at the top and 3 at the bottom. Basically, when you win, you get a little win sticker thing or a logo, whatever, at the top, and you can fill out 5 of those and complete a series. Or if you lose, you only have 3 loses, and that will also end the series. So it can kind of come to a pretty interesting outcome with like 5 wins and 2 losses, or 3 losses and 3 wins, or whatever. It can be really anything. As long as one or the other is completely full, then that's a series. Now, Open, if you look at the right, it's not there. It's just shows your rank and points and the mode and etc. But when you win a match, you get 8 points, but when you lose 4 points. So basically, if you win, you can lose 2 matches and it would just get you back to where you were before, or lose once and yeah, etc. and whatnot. So that is how Anarchy works. Back to what I was saying before with Splat Zones. In this mode, you are tasked with either 1 or 2 zones that you have to capture with your team's color, activating this counter up here to go from 100 down to 0. Same thing with your opponents as well. But what were to happen if all of a sudden your opponent's team color starts covering the floor or the zone? Well, what would happen is that once there's enough of the opponent's in color, it will stop your counter, and then once they eventually either you paint your color back, it'll go, but if it's the opponent's, then you'll be rewarded with a punishment, which is really not rewarded for, but just a punishment for not making it all the way to 0. You would also have to go through that punishment first before you go back to your main counter that was counting down beforehand. But you may be asking, what would happen when you hit 0? Well, you'd win, obviously, and it would be called a knockout. It'd be like that. Just completely getting the zone, and when you rally up the score, even though the opponent team scored, it's just a straight up knockout. Alrighty, we got through Splat Zones, and now we got Tower Control. Let's get into that. So here, we have a tower in the middle of the map. Another object in the middle of the map. Yep, I know. That's the thing that they got going on here. But you basically ride this tower as far as you can to get as many points as you can. As you see at the top, there is a counter with a little icon thingy representing the tower. And if you see these squares are checkpoints, which you'll be hitting during your ride towards the goal. And when you hit these checkpoints, you'll be having to go through 10 points each, making it a bit easier for defenders to kind of get you at a point where you're stuck and you're not always constantly moving and whatnot. And then once you hit the goal, but, well, since I'm not in an actual match, I'm just on recon mode, but I hit the goal, quote, quote, let's just go with that. You win. You'll win by a knockout, but what would happen if you got off the tower, what would happen? Well, it would slowly stop for about a second or two, and then go back to the middle where you first saw it. Oh, and a little tip. If you're on the tower, you can see in the top right the whole time, I've been getting my charge in my special without having to ink any of the ground. So that's pretty cool too. Alright, we're done with tower control. Time for Rainmaker. Let's get into that. Alright, here's a Rainmaker. And as you can see, I'm bashing myself into the Rainmaker because there's a shield around it. For some of you who don't know what Rainmaker is, you have a shield to go through first. You gotta pop it, but if you just keep bashing into it, and then you'll just eventually take so much damage and just die, which is unfortunate if somebody actually does that. Or you just get cramped into a corner and that happens. That happens to me sometimes. But you gotta pop it first, and then once you pop it, you can grab it, and it's pretty shiny. But if you see at the top of my head, there's a timer. You got about 60 seconds for anybody who grabs it. You got 60 seconds with it, or you just die with it, and then you lose it that way too. And it shoots explosive balls of your ink, like an explosive, like just a bomb, kind of almost like shooting a bomb, basically a bomb launcher. And when you have this, it is pretty slow when you walk and swim and whatnot, so it's not really the greatest to move around with. Here are the two checkpoints that you can choose, one or the other, and then there is a goal over there that you have to go to after you choose whichever checkpoint you want. Go up to it, climb it, you slam dunk it, and then that one will go up. You pop the shield again, you take it, and then you go all the way to the goal, and you win. That's it. That's how you do it. Oh, and if you don't get past the first checkpoint, you just keep going, that goal ain't gonna be there, so you have to go through the first checkpoint first. Alright, we made it through Rainmaker. Time for the last mode, Clam Blitz. Let's get into it. Alright, so when you first get into the match, you'll see right away on the ground there are these little clams that you can actually pick up. And you can hold up to 8 before eventually creating a giant football, which you can use to puncture your opponent's basket. Once you puncture the opponent's basket, you'll see a timer in the middle starting to go down because that's how much time you have to throw in more clams or football. The little clams being 3 points and the football being 20. Then, shortly after timer goes out and you can't throw any more clams in, or you didn't have any, you will see the basket going up and regenerating its layer back for you or your team to get another football to throw at it, puncture it, and do the process again. The team with the most points in the opponent's basket wins. And if you get all the way down to 0, you win by knockout. Just like all the other modes. Alright, so we covered Turf War and Anarchy. Now, it's time for, let's see... Oh no. X Battles. Everybody, if you have not played Splatoon 3, but you've watched other YouTubers, pro YouTubers, that have either A, discussed, or B, played X Battles, you just know the horror of this mode. It was so good in Splatoon 2. They absolutely made it terrible in Splatoon 3. Okay, I won't go terrible, but just worse. Way worse. And let me tell you why. Okay, so let me just explain real quick what is X Battles and how it works. It's literally very similar to its younger cousin Anarchy that I talked about. Its whole series thing is a thing. There's no open, so it's always a series I have to go through, but instead of 5 wins and 3 losses, it's 3 wins and 3 losses. There is also the points thing that is kind of different depending on how you do in a series, you'll lose not as many points as you would in an Anarchy series, but you'll slowly go up, and depending on your points, you can possibly get up to the top 3,000 depending on which mode. So you could have like 2,300 power and you're in the top 3,000 in like Rainmaker or whatever, and in Clam Blitz your power is like 1,900 and you aren't there. So it kind of just shows you which mode you're better in and which one is not your specialty, if you get the point of what I'm saying here. But in Splatoon 2, the way you would unlock this mode is that if you got to Anarchy, you know, with the it goes S and then S plus 1, 2, 3, 4, and etc. It just goes up. When you hit S plus 10 in Splatoon 2, you will unlock it. It's more of a professional Anarchy battle mode thing, I guess you could say. So in Splatoon 3, they changed it from S plus 10 to S plus 0. Meaning as soon as you get to S plus, which is literally the next rank up after S, you will instantly unlock it. Making it to where it's easier to get X battles and just go into it immediately, because we can have absolute new people that don't know what this is, how to do it, and like, well, I mean, they know how to do the modes and whatnot, but you get what I'm saying. We have people who aren't even that great, or not as great. Sorry, people here who are watching this video. I'm not trying to put you down, but I'm just saying, there's some people out there who just absolutely just take you down and choke the game. It is so irritating, and I run into this so often, and I bet other players out there too have had this, to where you have your team, it's, let's say its average power is like 2,300, and the other one's like 25 or 2,600. They bring a teammate to your team that is like 1,800, which is the average power, by the way, and it wasn't like that in Splatoon 2. It was like 2,000 or 2,100 ish. I think, I don't know. I did not play Splatoon 2 that long, but I just kind of heard about it in the news and whatnot. So if I'm wrong, don't worry about that. I just know that there was a better average than there was in Splatoon 2 than Splatoon 3. But you get where I'm going. Splatoon 3's X Battle is not great. Splatoon 2's was good. It was balanced. It was nice. It was the best thing you could have. But Splatoon 3 just kind of just took it and just, hey, we're going to make it to where you're not as special. Just ripped off the 1 and slapped that 0 in there and just called it good. And now it's a total disgrace. So, yeah, that's why X Battle is not so great. So yeah, that is all of Splatoon 3's game modes explained from me to you, so that you know what to kind of figure out yourself for any of the content that I have on this channel, that rather than me explaining what the heck is happening and why am I doing it. So let me know in the comments if I missed anything in this video, or if you have any questions that are wondering on you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.